Good morning. My name is Joe Hester. I'm the Executive Director here at Anishinaabe Health Toronto. My traditional name is Talking Fox of the Bear Clan and of the Cree Nation. And this project that we've been working on for a little bit now is called the Wisdom Weavers. And it was born out of a discussion I had here with a fellow staff member, actually. His name is Harvey Manning. And we talked about the difficulties that the COVID exacted on our community here in Toronto. And we thought it'd be a good idea to search back into our culture a little bit and see how that would help in terms of getting through this challenge, this health challenge of COVID. And so that idea presented more of itself in terms of collecting stories of our past through our, of course, the traditional healers, elders, and leaders in our community. And so with that, we started out on reaching out. And one of the persons that we sought out was Diane Longboat. She's a member of the community here, but is also, she is of the Mohawk people, of the Haudenosaunee people, and has her home on that reserve. So she heartily agreed to participate with us. So as we move from one story to the next through videos, Diane has agreed to not only provide a story for us as well, but also to introduce the various people who will be sharing their stories with us. And I think, you know, when we think about our culture, oftentimes these things were conveyed to each other and the people through stories. I can recall my own experiences from a young person listening to my grandfather tell stories in the language which I didn't understand, but had my dad interpreting for us, for myself and my other brothers. It was a time to share and to be together and to learn different teachings, different wisdoms, but certainly conveying who we are as a people. And I think storytelling goes to the heart of that. And hopefully you will find part of yourselves or all of yourselves within these stories. And I know you will enjoy them. Thank you.
Hey, Gwego Scano Sewa Gwego, Gahandagwas Yungyats. My Mohawk name is Gahandagwas, and my English name is Diane Longboat. I am Mohawk and Turtle Clan from Six Nations Grand River Territory, and I want to send warm and loving greetings to every single one of you who has the opportunity to tune in live today, and for those who will be able to watch this video at the AHT website following this presentation. I send you my heart today with all of the sacred tobacco that we have been able to grow in our gardens and has been brought into our lodge. You are here at Soul of the Mother. It is a lodge of nations that was given in vision in 1994 for a sacred fire of peace to be lit in these homelands. The vision came from the White Buffalo, and she said at that time, this fire of peace must be lit in that place where you were born. You will leave this place, which was at that time Toronto, and you will light that fire of peace. And to that fire, the nations of your people will come for their healing and their revitalization and for the raising up of Indigenous nations again. And it has been so. And the White Buffalo also said, when you are strong enough, the doors of the lodge will open, and you will admit white people, black people, and yellow people. Because it is the Creator's wish that all peoples have the opportunity to feel the essence of true spirit. So today I welcome you to the Lodge of Soul of the Mother, and I want to begin by offering some sacred tobacco. It is the tradition of our people through the Ohonongaliwirekwa, the words that come before all others, to offer words of deep thanksgiving and gratitude and love and respect to our Creator. Those were offered this morning at sunrise. Now, this prayer, a shortened version, will add to those original words given at that time when the morning star woman was shining in the sky, her royal blue light leading into the dawn. Nyawa sangwe disang ganalungpa skana gahandagwas yunyats. I'm so grateful to you, Sangwe Disang, our Creator, the one who made all things, for this wonderful opportunity to share the sacredness and the power of love that comes from this sacred fire with all of my relatives who are listening. I give thanks this day for the magnificent peoples of the world, cultures and faith traditions and languages that make our life here so rich. I give thanks this day that the Creator had a beautiful vision to create our Mother the Earth and swirled magnificent pollen and dust from beautiful places in the universe and created this planet for us. Placed water here, salt water, fresh water, rain waters, and birth waters, so that all life could flourish here. Today, I give thanks and honor for all the plant life that is on the earth. Food plants, medicine plants, all of them have a beautiful purpose that is here. They have a purpose to fulfill, and we learn from them on how they get along and how they mutually support one another. We also give thanks and honor to all the animal life that is here. Those animals that, some of them too, are food sustainers for us. They are brothers and sisters to us, and they are also clan members to us. We give thanks for them. We honor and give thanks to all the bird life that is on the earth, some that stayed with us through the wintertime, others that will return in the spring. We give thanks and honor to all of those living beings that are in the great waters of the earth, the whales that hold the wisdom of creation, the grandmother turtle who holds up Mother Earth on her back. Around us are unseen forces that move on the earth, the four winds that refresh and cleanse the earth, the Ladiwelos, the thunder beings that all 10 of them, bring different kinds of healing to the earth. They bring lightning and rain and refresh all life that is here. We honor those 4 sacred beings that hover over the earth, have been placed there by the Creator. They are great teachers to us. They remind us of our original instructions of how to care for Mother Earth and how to care for each other. This day we also honor and give thanks to the celestial beings, the stars that represent our ancestors, and the beauty of our grandmother, the moon, who takes care of female life and ensures fertility and the coming of new life. We give thanks for her great love for us and all the medicine that she leaves for us as women. We honor and give thanks to our elder brother, the sun, who walks across the sky each day, never failing in his duties and work for the Creator, never failing to bring sunlight to the earth so that all life can flourish here. And we honor that great warrior, the sun, never failing, who reminds us that we are also to be strong in our faith and in our duties to the Creator. We also honor and give thanks to that beautiful star formation called the Milky Way, a road that connects the natural world to the high heavens of the spirit world, the sky world. And on the other side of that road is the fire of our ancestors that are burning there. They are continuing to pray for us, for they know what it is to be a weak human being, frail, with not very much wisdom. And so they continue to pray for us. We honor those ancestors. And this day we also think about all those spiritual beings that are seated at the Creator's council fire. We ask them to continue to visit us in dream and vision and in guidance for the kinds of work that we are doing here today. We are in a sacred place where they enter and they give us sacred guidance. So we honor them and we thank them for all the work that they do for us as human family. And the Creator reminds us, love my creation, care for my creation, take care of each other. And the Creator says in the Yohodongaliwadekwa, mention me last. Last is always the most humble. And so when we give thanks, we say to Sangwe Dison, thank you for the magnificent place that you've created here for us, that we can thrive as human family. Thank you for loving us and for caring for us and providing everything that we need to have a good life here. And so with this offering of tobacco, we ask Sangwe Dison, our Creator, to reach out over the face of Mother Earth and lift up the red people, the black people, the yellow people, and the white people, to restore unity among people, to help us to resolve our issues with negotiation and peacemaking, and help us to be strong as Ongwehongwe people, to stand in the world and be proud of who we are, and to bless this series as the elders gather at this fire and share beautiful stories, teachings, wisdom, so magnificent. We're so grateful to them for their time, their love, their energy. We give thanks to you, Sangwe Dison, for watching over us and protecting us and making sure that we have everything that we need for this magnificent series of elders, teachings, and storytelling. Nyawa Sangwe Dison. So my dear relatives, we have some time together today, and I so cherish that time. And even though we are using technology to be able to reach out to one another, I take you back to the time when in our prophecies, the Kaliwio talks about a cobweb that's going to cover the face of Mother Earth. And today I believe that cobweb to be the internet. I want to first begin by acknowledging this place where we find ourselves. when we looked at the history of this land, where this lodge sits and where our homes sit, we found something very interesting, that Haudenosaunee people had done ceremonies here for hundreds of years in this particular spot. And so when we were called home in 1994 to light that sacred fire of peace, it was an important time because we were fulfilling vision. We were listening to what the ancestors had to say to us. We were listening to the spirit beings as they gave us guidance and direction on creating a place where people would feel safe, where the ceremonies are authentic, where the elders are happy to come and share what they have. And so the origin of this fire was vision, and this place is a fulfillment of vision. The lodge itself is round, and it's round to accept all nations equally, that all nations will have a seat here. We have sacred places on the land, and those sacred places are the thunder tree that's been hit by lightning twice and left a lot of medicine for us. We have a turtle that is a petriform, and it was the young people and many, many ceremonies with young people and spiritual camps for young people that we had this opportunity to ask them in ceremony, choose a rock from the most beautiful places that you can find here. And we will go through a ceremony to find the spirit that lives inside that rock. And we did, and we showed our young people how it is to communicate spiritually with a language of spirit. It was magnificent. And all these rocks were gathered together and they built a petriform turtle. And it is standing today on our land. So there are many sacred places here, and not the least of which is the river, the great waters of the Grand River. So beautiful and so now teeming with fish now that the river is going through a cleaning process. So I wanted to share that sacred fire with you and its origin. But I also want to make sure that you understand something very important, and that the power of a sacred fire is that it is a connection to Songwe Disong, our Creator. Everything that we see, we feel, we hear, we carry with us is known by the Creator, known by that fire. This is our time as human beings to understand that there are 7 sacred fires. The first one is the one that's burning in the core of Mother Earth. Such a beautiful fire where she stands with tobacco like I stood today, offering tobacco into her sacred fire, which is in the core of Mother Earth. Praying for every blade of grass, every bird, all the living beings in the great waters of the earth, all the human beings, praying every day for each of us, that we will grow spiritually, that we will find the Creator in whatever faith tradition there is, but to be sure that we are guided spiritually, that we have a connection to a power that is greater than ourselves. This is an important time for us as human family. When we connect with the fire in Mother Earth, the fire that is burning on the land, the sacred fire, the fire that is burning on the land connects to the sacred fire that is burning in the Grandmother Moon. The Grandmother Moon is not a dead planet. The Grandmother Moon has a fire, a sacred fire burning in her core. The elder brother, the sun, also has a fire, a sacred fire burning in his core. And that fire is connected to the fires of the ancestors in the spirit world. That fire of the ancestors in the spirit world is guidance for us as human beings, because we're weak and we're frail, and our minds can be pulled in many directions. And sometimes the free will we have is ego-based, and it's not about service to the Creator or service to humanity. That fire of the ancestors is guidance for us, dreams and visions And we sing to those ancestors in Okiwe. We sing in the ghost dance, in the ancestor ceremonies. We sing to them. We thank them for everything that they are providing for us as guidance. We also connect that fire of the ancestors in the sky world to the Creator's council fire. And seated there are the great ones, great prophets, visionaries, teachers, healers, spiritual beings that assisted the Creator with the whole process of creation here on the earth from the beginning of time. They are seated at that council fire. And when we come to our sacred fire in lodges, on the ground, in churches, temples, synagogues, wherever we come, that little sacred fire is connected to the Creator's council fire. The Creator hears us each time we as Ongwehongwe people come to the fire and we put our tobacco into the fire. Our prayers are heard. Every single one is answered. Maybe not in the time that we want, but in the time that is good for us. And so the seventh fire is the fire of your spirit. The fire of your spirit is given to you at the beginning of your life here as a human being. It's created in the spirit world. It follows you here into the physical body that you have. And so these times that we sit with elders, the purpose of those times is for that little light that is inside of you to be a flame. It's for you to be ignited spiritually. Your spiritual DNA light switches, boom, 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 turned on when you hear the elders speaking to you. It's an important time for us because what is happening with all of the world is that we are now in the time of the fulfillment of prophecy, the time of the prophecies of indigenous nations in North America, Central America, and South America coming to the fullness of their fruition. This is a time of the change in Mother Earth. But it's also time to understand that those prophecies are dedicated to young people and to women and to the earth and to the men and to the two-spirit people. Those prophecies are dedicated to helping young people to understand that their lives have meaning. Every single young person who is born at this time period has spiritual gifts, has a spiritual mandate. And in that spiritual mandate are the calling of you into the world, the belonging. You belong here. Your life has meaning. You are needed here in this world. And so at this time period, I address the young people. And I say to you that in the ceremonies of the nations of our people, you have been prayed for. You are much loved and you are wanted in this world. Because you are born different from my generation, different from people in their 40s. You are the ones in your 20s, in your teens, the children, the young ones who are toddlers and the babies that are coming into this world. They are being born with powerful spiritual gifts and an ability in their spirit to hear the spirits talk, to hear the ancestors give direction and guidance. They need to be cared for. The young people need to be guided by elders, traditions, ceremonies, teachings, and so on. It's so important at this time that we raise up our young people and we provide for them the safety that they need to be able to grow in this world. Because those powerful gifts that they've been given will change the world. The young people of this generation will change education, the legal system, the health system, social services system, and for sure the child welfare system. The young people have been given everything they need to be successful, and we as the older people need to take our place around them, to nurture them and ensure that they have everything they need to grow into those magnificent gifts that will change the world. Women, the divine feminine, the prophecy of the rise of women, not just in our own homelands and societies and nations, but women throughout the world have been given such power to bring change into the world with love, with compassion, and with respect. And so I address the women today and say, the prophecies of this time look to you and say how important it is for you to engage in your own healing, to understand the honor and the respect with which you carry yourself, and to raise up yourself in the world. Be responsible for yourself in the world. Look for the places of healing that are going to help you on your healing journey. And make no mistake about it, it is a journey. We are all on that journey of healing. I have my teacher in my community. I also have a woman healer who is assisting me with my journey. It's such an important piece to understand we are frail human beings. We are the ones who are imperfect, and all of us need healing in some way. We have all been victims of trauma, whether it's historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, or trauma in this lifetime that just builds up for fear and anger and resentment. So we are all on this journey of healing. And I also address the men today, and I say how important it is to honor yourselves as men, to find the healing that you need within the culture that you come from, so that you understand your rites of passage, moving from boyhood to manhood, carrying your spiritual gifts, carrying your teachings, and fully living the life that the Creator gave you. I also address today the Two-Spirit people, to find your place, your honored place, and your seat in our circle of ceremony. For you have a very special place between male and female, and the fluidity of that, the work that you can do in both areas to serve. You have a full place within that circle of ceremony and humanity. There is an old cycle that is now finished, and we are now moving into a new cycle. And this cycle that we're moving into is an important one. I say to you that we started this year-long visit with elders, wisdom keepers, traditional teachers. We started that beautiful set of teachings for a whole year that's laid out. We want to start at midwinter. Midwinter, where the Pleiades constellation is directly overhead, in between the new moon and the full moon, where the new moon is growing into its fullness to the full moon, where it's so powerful, the teachings become so powerful that just listening to the teachings enables you to start your healing process. This is a time for transition from the old to the new, from old patterns that no longer serve you, and embracing the new way of being in the world. This is a gift from the Creator to all of us. We start at the new moon and move into the full moon, so that the power of that full moon and all the medicine that we've gathered in that time period really rains down on us in that new moon cycle, or full moon cycle. This is a time when we're moving from old to new. And this whole series that we're dedicating now is dedicating to you for the tending of your spirit. We want you to feel cared for, loved, nurtured, lifted up. We want you to understand that these sessions are for the building of your spirit, because none of us are perfect. And when we tend our spirit at the sacred fire and in ceremonies and traditional teachings with our spiritual leaders, it's such a beautiful moment in time. Something in this series is going to appeal to you for the right place, the right time, the right message, and it's going to change you. And so this is a tending of your spirit, but it's also a building of your spirit. This is a time to turn away from grief and loss, illness, addiction, the challenges that we've faced in this past year. That's not to say that these challenges won't be in the year that is coming up. We'll always have grief and loss. Illness will always be amongst us. Challenges for addiction will be with us. But it's how we approach those challenges that is going to be the turning point in your life when you listen to the messages of the elders. I say to you today how important it is for understanding the greatness of our people, understanding that you are part of nations of our people. The prophecies talk about the unity that is going to unfold among indigenous nations. From Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. From Alaska to Tierra del Fuego. It is an important time because the unity of nations signals the fullness of the change. Now we are seeing the change in Mother Earth. That's the signal that the prophecies are being fulfilled. We are coming into those final moments of prophetic completion. We are at this time period looking at how important it is for unity to happen amongst our people, for peacemaking to occur, for healing to occur, and above all, for forgiveness. And so we have a really beautiful program that we've put together for you. And in that program, we have some wonderful speakers. And I'm going to ask my friend, my colleague, my sister, Cynthia White Gawananolo, who's Mohawk Snipe Clan from Akwesasne, to come and help me with this part of the introductions of the speakers. So our first speaker is Brenda Johnson. She's a member of the Mohawk Nation at Six Nations Grand River Territory. She's a widely respected social worker and a community organizer from Ohsweken. Brenda has dedicated 30 years of her career to working in mental health, addictions, and suicide interventions for Indigenous people in her community and across Ontario. Brenda now works as Director of Services for the Niagara Peninsula Aboriginal Area Management Board, which is an organization that seeks to enhance the quality of life for urban Aboriginal youth through culturally appropriate employment and training supports. Brenda's storytelling is entitled Our Responsibility to Care for Our Elders During Difficult Times. Brenda will speak about her own experience caring for elders in her community, and she's been providing everyone with traditional medicines throughout the pandemic. She will dedicate her presentation to family members who have passed. She lost 3 elderly language-speaking family members to the pandemic, and she misses greatly being able to go and visit them and speak with them. And so our hearts go out to Brenda for the loss of her family members, for the richness of the culture that they carried, for the profound gift of language that they carried that would help us in this generation to revitalize our languages here. And so we say to Brenda Nyawa for being able to visit with us and to bring your presentation to us. because I remember speaking to Brenda at the very beginning of the pandemic, and she was busy organizing for her own family, making sure the elders had everything that they needed for this time when we were going into a lockdown, and ensuring that medicines were shared widely. So really lift up Brenda. I know her well from my community, and the service that she gives with her full heart to the people of our community. Our next speaker will be in April, and that is Bob Goulet. And for those of you in the city of Toronto, you will know Bob. He is Anishinaabe from Nipissing First Nation, and he's a second-degree member of the Three Fires Medewin Society, and he's a committed advocate of Anishinaabe Adzuin, Indigenous ways of knowing and being. Bob is a sought-after speaker. He's a traditional teacher. He's a facilitator and a master of ceremonies. And many of you may have seen him as master of ceremonies at some of our powwows throughout the province. He provides valuable cultural context and traditional knowledge to many diverse audiences right across Canada. In 2015, he founded Nipissing Consulting Incorporated and specializes in Indigenous community engagement, communications, cultural advisory services, and cultural competency training, so important at this time period. He also advises on public policy and management consulting. As an experienced senior executive and consultant, Bob has provided over 20 years of leadership and public service to industry, government, not-for-profit, and Indigenous organizations, including the Anishinaabe Nation, the Assembly of First Nations, the Government of Ontario, the Native Men's Residence in Toronto, Humber College, the Indigenous Peoples Program for the Parliament of the World's Religions, including Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation and the Ojibwe Cultural Foundation. Bob and I were co-chairs of the Indigenous Peoples Program at the Parliament of the World's Religions, and we had a Lodge of Nations built inside the Metro Convention Center with over 100 elders and speakers that came from all over North America, Central America, and South America, and offered a 7-day program. And it was extraordinary to be able to work with Bob. Bob's storytelling presentation is titled, At the Beginning, The Fires of Creation. And Bob will tell the story about the Creator and the fires of creation. This will include the creation of the universe, the concepts of spirit, energy, matter, Mother Earth, and the lowering of humankind from the sky world to the earth. He will interweave traditional concepts, teachings, and storytelling to highlight the importance of spirit, spirituality, and our connection to creation. So his presentation will be in April. Our next speaker at the end of April is Kevin Ganansahan Deer. Kevin Ganansahan Deer helps to perform the ceremonies, songs, speeches, and dances of the Mohawk people. He lives in Ganawage, Mohawk Territory, situated on the south shore of Montreal, and he's been employed as a school teacher at the Mohawk Immersion School since 1989. In the older traditional teachings in the Longhouse, as a faith keeper, he is a resource person on Haudenosaunee worldview, philosophy, treaties, and land claims, and Indigenous historical perspectives. He's been deeply involved in the Mohawk language and spiritual revitalization of his nation for the past 36 years. During the 1990 Oka crisis, he was involved in peace negotiations to try to bring the dispute to a successful resolution between the Haudenosaunee Confederacy and the federal and provincial governments of Canada. As a motivational speaker, he tries to instill into the younger generation the hope that they can succeed in whatever their goals are in life, provided that they maintain spiritually grounded ways and maintain the concept of the good mind. Kevin enjoys discussing life and is always open to learning new ways of knowing. Kevin's presentation will be titled Giving a Spiritual Inoculation. So for those of you who've had vaccines, this is your spiritual inoculation. In the presentation, Kevin will assert we're at a crucial time in history where Indigenous wisdom of this land is rising up and prophecies are being fulfilled. The prophecies say a time would come where we would help our brothers and sisters that came into our house. We would wipe their tears so that they could see differently. We would open their ears so that they could hear differently. We will remove the lump in their throats so that they can speak. And together we would put our best collective thinking forward for the benefit of those future generations that are with us now and those that are coming. So our faith keeper, Kevin, will be talking about Haudenosaunee worldview, prophecies, and the guidance that we need for this time period. I also want to introduce you to someone that I value in my own life. Wambadi Wakita, grandfather, Unkan. He is a strong leader. He's gentle, he's kind, and in a lifetime that spans 7 decades, Unkan Wambadi Wakita has had a remarkable range of experiences, from travel on foot, horse, and bicycle on his home reserve of Sioux Valley, Dakota Nation, during the time when a pass was signed by the Indian agent and required to leave the reserve. He was also cruising in motor vehicles and airplanes to far-off places in Europe, New Zealand, Hawaii, Africa, and Mexico. Grandfather Wambadi Wakita has traveled many paths. Grandfather's early life was infused with love and teachings from his mother and grandfather. He grew up speaking the Dakota language, learning about ceremony, and living the Dakota way of life. As a child, he had many experiences that foretold of the work that would come later when he was an adult. When he would share about these experiences, his grandfather would reassure him, "They are too holy. Do not be afraid." This was in sharp contrast to the harsh treatment and abuse that he experienced for 8 years in the Indian residential school. When he was old enough, he ran away. He joined the Canadian Armed Forces as a peacekeeper, where he served for 6 years. And upon his return home, after years of healing those wounds that he experienced, he surrendered into the role that was always waiting for him, and that was of a holy man for the Dakota Sioux Nation. For over 30 years, Wambadi conducted ceremonies and provided counseling support to incarcerated men. His reputation for integrity allowed him to intervene during critical incidents and prevent loss of life. Wambadi acted in the role of advisor to the Federal Aboriginal Justice Directorate, the Correctional Service of Canada, Gangs and Conflict Resolution Initiative, the Law Society of Canada, and he worked to make revisions to the Young Offenders Act in 1999. He also worked with the government of the Northwest Territories to build new young offender and adult correctional facilities. Wambadi Wakita has received many honors over the years. He's been recognized for his work by the Aboriginal Justice Services of Winnipeg for having demonstrated excellence and dedication to his work in corrections. He also received the Manitoba Premier's Award of Excellence for his work with the Paraplegic Society, honoring the Elders Award from the Aboriginal Circle of Educators as well. In July of 2016, he was invested into the Order of Manitoba for his lifelong efforts to support individual healing and unity among all nations. Wambadi has attended Sundances, both in the United States and Canada, for over 50 years. He is a Sundance chief, he is a spiritual leader, and he is a strong voice to preserve Dakota language and culture. Wambadi is described as gentle, soft-spoken, and a man of profound wisdom. He possesses a rare breadth of traditional and cultural knowledge, which he combines with a message of love. These days, Wambadi Wakita is grandfather in residence to the University of Manitoba Access Program. He continues to contribute to the community by sharing knowledge, advice, and wisdom wherever he's asked. Wambadi's storytelling presentation for us during this beautiful time that we have together is titled Living a Life of Sacredness and Healing. Wambadi will talk about natural law, which offers a guide to health, well-being, and healing of Indigenous people in heart, mind, body, and spirit. Wambadi shares stories that help the listener to know how to practice their culture, their way of life in a sacred manner. We're so grateful to have Wambadi join us. We also have Wambadi's wife, Pahan Pataisan, grandmother. She is loving, strong, and gentle. She is a leader of Sundance for women, and she is a grandmother to children in Winnipeg schools. She wears many, many hats. Her father, Tapwe Chrétien, whose curiosity and deep reverence for the natural world taught her the joy of creation. Pahan's roots reach out to Wood Mountain, Saskatchewan, where her grandmother was born, and the Northwest Territories where her father is buried. She is Lakota, Cree, and Métis. And she says, the first time I had a vision, I was 8 years old. Years later, as an adult, I had another that taught me my life has a plan, even when I don't know what it is. The more I surrender to it and follow where it leads, the more meaningful life becomes. With formal training in social work from MacEwan University, where she graduated with honors, and the University of Calgary, Grandmother Pahan's work with people has led to the roles of Indigenous spiritual caregiver at the Manitoba Youth Centre, an elder for the Correctional Services of Canada at Stony Mountain Institution, a counselor for organizations such as the Blue Cross Employee Assistance Centre and Health Canada's Indian Residential School Survivor Support Program. Pahan has been a business owner since 2002 for bearpawteepee.ca, where she provides consulting, workshop facilitation, and presentations. In 2016, she received a vision to have a Sundance of women that honors the spirits of missing and murdered women. In 2017, that vision was realized and continues until this year of 2022. Grandmother Pahan is a published author most recently contributing to the anthology of Our Missing and Murdered Indigenous Sisters, with editors Kim Anderson, Maria Campbell, and Christy Belcourt. She is a gifted storyteller, sharing remarkable accounts on the blog IMarriedAHolyMan.com. All you young people watching out there, go to that website. It's so much fun. In 2007, the Good Medicine radio show aired on CKLB Radio in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. She produced that radio show and co-hosted it with her husband, Wambadi Wakita. She won an award at the Imaginative Film and Media Arts Festival for Best Radio Documentary in Current Affairs. In 2016 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Grandmother Pahan was presented with the 10th Annual Aboriginal Circle of Educators Award in the category of honoring our elders. Pahan's storytelling presentation will be titled Stories from Lived Experience, Overcoming Your Adversaries and the Life Lessons that come from that. That's something we all need to tune into, overcoming our adversaries with a good heart and a good mind. Pahan has said, I have been rejected. I have been abandoned and hurt, which left wounds that I have spent a lifetime healing. I cannot let others define me. I recognize that the way I look allows me privilege and protects me from the racism and discrimination that my mother, father, family, and Indigenous relatives experience. It has also at times made me a target for lateral violence from my own people. Today, I choose to embrace all those who love, respect, and accept me, and to love from a distance those who don't. I know whatever situation I find myself in, I can choose to respond with hate or with love. I choose love. So I want to say a few words about Wambadi and his wife Pahan. I had the opportunity for teaching with both of them at two different occasions in North Carolina and South Carolina. And they are extraordinary people that truly walk the talk. And every day in their own personal ceremonies, I want you to know that they raise you up. They ask the Creator to help you. Ask the Creator for your healing and for your protection. And you need to know, relatives, that you're being prayed for every single day. And from this fire and from all the people that tend this fire called Soul of the Mother, we also raise you up every single day in our prayers that you will find your true path in life, that your teachers will appear to you when you most need them, that you will discover the gifts that you have, that you will be proud of yourself and walk strong and tall in the world, that you will do incredibly bold things, maybe things that have never been done before, but your own creativity will lead you forward, and you will do so with immense courage. The world needs to change, and you are such a significant part of all of that. I want to speak a little bit about cultural appropriation, because you know from all of these speakers who are coming to be with us that it's an important time for them to be able to share. You know, when you look back on the history of our people and the history of our communities, you know, it was only in 1953 that things changed here in Canada for us, that our ceremonies no longer had to go underground. And it was much later in the United States. Today, the world is in a deep crisis. It's in a deep crisis of spirit. We, as human family, are so far out of balance for what we need to be able to achieve for the healing and the protection of Mother Earth, and for our own selves, for our own spiritual evolution and strengthening to be able to stand strong in the world. The world needs us as Ongwehongwe people and the gifts that we bring. The platforms are being created all over the world for traditional knowledge, wisdom, to be able to have voice at the tables of decision making. This next generation of young people will find that the doorways that were opened in the 1960s for you, again in the 80s and 90s, doorways were opened for you. And for the young people, it's time for you to start to think about your journey in life and the doorways that you need to walk through for raising up our people as great nations once again. We're not going to be able to do that until we take care of this, the spirit that each of us carry, the healing that we need. These storytellers are not just telling you stories, which we're bound in English by that thought of stories. This is not a storybook. This is the wisdom of ancient ones, thousands of years old, that have been passed down through the generations to the elders that are carrying these stories today. This is such an incredible opportunity for all of the folks who are able to tune in to this presentation, and knowing that it's going to go on for an entire year. So we are now looking at presentations that will take us right through into next winter. Wintertime is our storytelling time. And so now we invite you to say, I have some questions. I have things that I want to say, maybe about this presentation and subsequent presentations. Please know that you can send your questions for upcoming presentations 48 hours in advance. So a couple days before the presentation is scheduled, you can send your questions into Anishinaabe Health Toronto to their website. And those questions will be brought in for the spiritual leaders and traditional teachers and wisdom weavers who are joining us here. You need to also know that all of these presentations are being recorded, not just on Facebook, but recorded into a video that will be shown on the AHT website. So if you miss any of these presentations, and I haven't given you real dates yet, if you miss those presentations, you can always go to the AHT website and you'll find there all the list of speakers, all the dates, and all of the topics that they are going to be reviewing. So now we have the opportunity to say some final words. And I want to share some of my final words for you. That is a prayer that I make every single day. I ask the Creator to help us to understand who we really are in the world, the sacred gifts that we've been born with. I ask the Creator to help us to understand the spirit that we have and what we carry as a spiritual mandate. Every single person has been born here, especially at this time period, to fulfill something on behalf of the Creator. Everyone's life has meaning. Everyone should feel hope for this time period because we're working together and standing shoulder to shoulder to bring change into the world. But change only comes, and I pray about this in my pipe ceremonies, change only comes when we're ready to change. Because human beings have been infected with a profound disease that has caused imbalance. And that disease is greed. That disease is greed. This morning I received a beautiful phone call around 7 in the morning from one of the spiritual leaders in the East Coast of Canada. And she shared with me that she received a very old prophecy about 50 to 60 years ago, and it talked about two snakes, one being gold and one being silver, and that those snakes would be moving about the face of the Americas. Those snakes would originate in the United States, one of those snakes being gold, the one in Canada being silver, and that we would have a difficult time. We would have a difficult time defeating greed. So these teachings, this fire, this lodge, this land, all of this beautiful creation that we have here is dedicated to the healing of human beings, the healing of the spirit, to restore the good mind, a good mind understanding respect, understanding compassion, and above all, understanding love. That good mind then guides the beautiful heart that each of us carry, the emotions that we all carry. And so when that good mind is in place, it enables you to see. Yes, you see the negative, but you also see your way clear to turn that negative around into positive. And so the challenges that we face in the world, there's so much wisdom that comes from the messages of the elders as they talk to us about human nature. They talk to us about what not to do and what to do, how to live your life. But they don't tell you that in don't do this, do this. They don't tell you that. They tell you stories. They tell you stories about what happens to you if you don't walk that trail of peace and healing and guidance from the ancestors, connection to the Creator. So this is an opportunity for us as human beings in this beautiful time that we have with our speakers to embrace something that's brand new. Embrace the challenges that are in front of you. Turn them around from negative to positive. Believe in yourself. And my final words to you are this, that every single one of you has been given everything that you need to be successful in life. Nyawa, my beloved relatives, Ganalankwa, Agweko, Ganalankwa, to all of you, I love you very much and I believe in you. Nyawa.